The two countries owe each other apologies for the sins of the fathers. We didn't commit these sins. We who are here today are not the ones, we were not the ones that gave the order for the illegal immigrants in Ghana to leave Ghana back then. And Ghana never said Nigeria should leave. Ghana forced illegal immigrants to leave Ghana, and Nigerians were among them. Nigeria government never said Ghana must go. Nigerian government asked all illegal immigrants to legalize or leave the country or you will be arrested. Hey sweethearts, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ella Chilaka, the Queen Abuna of the Ashanti Kingdom, Ghana. Today I want us to have this very important discussion, and I'll appreciate it if you watch this video till the end. Okay, and don't forget, don't skip no ads, okay? Alright, so Nigeria must go. Ghana must go. Did any of this really happen the way the youths of today consumed it in their minds? Was that really what happened? Let's talk about this in this video because it's a very, very sensitive topic that we need to keep sentiments aside and view it in a realistic way. Now, in 1954 and 1969, the former Prime Minister of Ghana, Kofi Abrefa, gave the Alliance Compliance Order for illegal immigrants living in Ghana, illegal immigrants who were living in Ghana to leave the country. They were forced to leave the country as they made up a significant percentage of undocumented large population of Ghana. Now, amongst these illegal immigrants were Cote d'Ivoire, Ivorians, Nigerians, although Nigerians made the higher number of them. About 140,000 Nigerians were forced to leave Ghana then. Most of these people had built houses, they had businesses running in Ghana, but they had to let go, forfeit most of their properties. Some had to sell off. The money when not reach them to even buy blocks. They had to sell them off just to make sure they left alive. Now, this incident happened, and a lot of Nigerians were hurt. They were, traumatized, heartbroken. So many people also lost their lives after this incident. Fast forward to the oil boom in Nigeria in 1970. A lot of people were trooping into Nigeria because of the oil boom. Nigeria was, exporting oil to different countries, and there were so many, in fact, job opportunities and all that. The standard of living in Nigeria improved so much, and you can imagine producing 2.5 million barrels of oil daily. Hey Charlie, so the country became the giant of Africa. And a lot of Ghanaians, a lot of people from different countries had to go to Nigeria in search of greener pastures. Prior to this, Nigerian government had gone to Ghana before to seek for teachers, people who would want to come and work in Nigeria. And they were legally residing in Nigeria. So most schools in Nigeria back then had Ghanaian teachers. You must find a Ghanaian teacher in almost all the schools that you come across in Nigeria. It was so sweet, it was beautiful. So most of the Ghanaians had settled in Nigeria, produced, had kids, and so on. Now, during then, there was a very disturbing situation in Ghana because of the former president, J.J. Rawlings. He had shown Ghanaians Shege Pro Max. Oh yes. And a lot of people were running away from Ghana just to survive, just to stay alive. So many of them had to find their way to Nigeria to at least start a life, to at least survive, because Ghana then was hell. Now, in 1980 and 1981, there were riots in Kano. Even though these riots were mostly interreligious and politically inflicted, so many Muslims and Christians, over 4,000 people lost their lives during this riot in Nigeria. The then president, Shehu Shagari, information reaching him was that the higher average of the population that carried out these riots were non-citizens of Nigeria. They were not the citizens, they were foreigners. And also then, being election year, on the 17th of January 1983, Shehu Shagari gave an order for all the illegal immigrants to leave Nigeria. Either you get your documents, resident permits, national ID, whatever, that will identify or naturalize you as a Nigerian, or you have to leave the country or face arrest. They were given 14 days to do this. 2 weeks. They were given 2 weeks. This came as a shock. So many, of course, took into action, had to get documents and naturalize themselves. While so many, so much more didn't do this. Now the president went further to say if they fail to naturalize or leave and the 14 days ultimatum elapses, whatever you like, do to them. He gave this order to the Nigerian citizens. This made so many people, I won't say they took laws into their hands. They obeyed what the president had told them. Now, most of the Ghanaians, most of the immigrants, 2 million plus, more than 2 million illegal immigrants were forced to leave Nigeria after that 14 days elapsed. Now, among these 2-point-something million illegal immigrants, about 1 million of them were Ghanaians. Now, the fear of going back to the country where a dictator is the president. Oh, what will be their fate? The same country that they left. Ghana was going through so much. Citizens were always afraid. You don't even know if you're going to wake up the next day or if you're going to meet the end of the day alive or right. It was a terrible, terrible situation in Ghana. Now these people thought about how they were going to go back to this. They were shocked. The tension, they were panicking. They were confused. It's not everybody that would easily decide on what to do immediately when you get such instruction, or let's say such order. But the few people who were able to focus and get the documents, nothing happened to them. They lived in Nigeria. Now these ones who didn't get their documents were maltreated by the Nigerian government, by the Nigerian citizens, by some of the Nigerian citizens. Now the bag, it was the biggest bag being produced in the country then, and it was the most affordable bag. That was what most of them used to at least pack the few things they could carry to leave the country. And no, it was not just Ghanaians that traveled with this said bag. So many other country citizens that were also expelled from Nigeria also bought these bags. But 1 million Ghanaians left. So many of them bought these bags and used it to pack their stuffs when they were leaving. And this bag had this stigma of a name given to it as Ghana must go. And it had lingered since 40 years ago till now. In fact, the bag has become a modeling stuff in the US and everywhere. But that name keeps bringing back the sad memories. Now, this pain lingered. These people left Nigeria with this pain, the heartbreak. As a matter of fact, I heard Gaddafi send some aircrafts to pick up some Ghanaians to help, and Shagari refused granting them landing because, according to him, his orders were not taken seriously. Perhaps if the aircrafts had come before the 14 days elapsed, maybe, just maybe, a lot of people would have been helped out of the country easily. Let me remind you, I don't know about other countries, but the Northerners, Muslims, some of them don't have conscience like some of you and I. Some of them have their own heart at the back. Most of them, lives don't mean anything to them. So I'm not surprised that this type of thing happened. This kind of order came from him, Sheikh Shagari. Now, prior to that order, the vice president then, Elisa Kwame, was robbed at his residence. So many of the people who were arrested for this issue, for this robbery, some were identified as Ghanaians. The others were identified as foreigners, and then just few Nigerians amongst them. So, according to the president, a lot of crimes were being committed by foreigners in the country then. coupled with the fact that the economy was crumbling. Nigerian economy was crumbling so bad. And being an election year, the president had to take such miserable decision. Now, a lot of people took it to be a retaliation for what Ghana did to Nigerians in the past years. But I see it as a selfish decision. You see, we Africans, we are good at being easily manipulated, easily brainwashed. We're so vulnerable. We are easily controlled. That is why a government will bring a blame game and will believe them. They'll tell you, oh, it's the foreigners in our country that are causing the problems in our society, in our economy. That is why you don't have a good road. That is why there is no Wi-Fi in your villages, because of the foreigners in our country. Trust Africa. Everybody will say, oh, they must go, they have to go. Now you ask yourself, if the foreigners eventually go, would the economy become better? Would the government behave or perform better? After the immigrants were sent away from Nigeria, did the economy become better? Did Nigeria recover its status as the giant of Africa? It's been 40 years. Has the country become better? That is what you ask yourself. After Ghana had expelled the immigrants back then, did the country, the economy, did it become better? No, good. So when these people were leaving, Rawlings had locked the border between Togo and Ghana. He closed the border between Togo and Ghana. And in return, Togo also closed their border between Togo and Benin. Now, these immigrants, these Ghanaian immigrants who were leaving from Nigeria were stuck at the Benin border, the Seme border. They were stranded at Cotonou for over 1 week, trying to see how they can maybe get ships to take them through the sea to Ghana or to Tema or something like that. And Togo locked their border with Benin so that the immigrants will not come and settle in Togo, since Rawlings had closed their flower border. It was a terrible situation. It was after 1 week of pain, trauma, stress, exhaustion, dehydration, heartbreak, losses of lives, that J.J. Rawlings opened their flower border. And then the Togo did the same. Then the Ghanaians were able to pass and they went back home. It is indeed a sad story to hear or read, and we have a problem. We Africans, most of us don't like to read, we don't like to make researches, we just like to jump on caption, okay, we move with it. We don't even, like, if it's not talking about nyash, pain, sex and stuff, they don't have interest in it. If it's not talking about gossip, they don't have interest in it. If you're talking about a different thing, different videos, you see some people just look at the caption and they jump into this comment section to talk off points. Meanwhile, they don't even watch the content of the videos. So it's always important that we read and understand, then judge. Now, what do I think needs to be done? The two countries owe each other apologies for the sins of the fathers. We didn't commit these sins. We who are here today are not the ones, we were not the ones that gave the order for the illegal immigrants in Ghana to leave Ghana back then. And Ghana never said Nigeria should leave. Ghana forced illegal immigrants to leave Ghana, and Nigerians were among them. Nigeria government never said Ghana must go. Nigerian government asked all illegal immigrants to legalize or leave the country, or you will be arrested. 2 weeks. Ghana did it abruptly. Ghana didn't give time. When they did it, they didn't give them time to legalize or do this and that. The Prime Minister gave the order, and Nigerian government gave his order 2 days, 2 weeks later. People started taking the laws according to the instruction from the government. And up till today, the past presidents have not addressed these two issues between these two brothers. No governor, no president had come on national TV to apologize officially to each of the countries. No Ghanaian president had come to apologize to Nigerians for what they did in 1969 to them. No Nigerian president has come on national TV to apologize to Ghanaians and all the other African countries, citizens, for what they did to them, even though law is law. But since this had, affected the relationships between these two countries, I think it's the right thing to do. Some other African countries had also done this alliance thing, deportation thing. Togo had done it before to Cote d'Ivoire and Benin and even Nigeria. You understand? So yes, and Ghana didn't do it to only Nigeria. Ghana did it to Cote d'Ivoire also, and Burkina Faso also. But today, they did it to Togo too. But today, everybody has moved on. So my question is, why are these two countries still nursing this bitterness, changing the narratives for the children they are giving birth to? Instead of going with the narrative, oh, Nigeria said Ghana must go, why don't we tell the kids, today's generation and the generations to come, the truth? That African countries who were illegally residing in these countries were asked to leave. This happened in Ghana when the Liberians didn't leave when they were asked to leave or naturalized, right? And they were asked to go. I made a video here too, telling them that they shouldn't be ungrateful for being helped in the first place. They are rather supposed to thank Ghana, and then it was their fault they didn't naturalize and they didn't go. So whatever comes after that instruction is not supposed to be bittered about. So I believe this is the same thing everywhere. What happened in Ghana, Nigerians and the other countries that were asked to leave were residing there undocumented. The same thing in Nigeria. The ones that were asked to leave were illegal immigrants. But then, if I were the president, I would have suggested a better way to make everybody get documented. Situate immigrations or whatever, those who are in charge of registering or maybe getting documentations and all that in different regions so that everybody will have access to it. That way, because we are all brothers and sisters. So if we continue to follow the Westerners' pattern of divide and rule, making sure we are against each other, making sure that there is no love between us so they can keep penetrating and be stealing from us, how far can we go as Africans? So isn't it time to say enough is enough? Ghanaian government should apologize to Nigerian citizens. Nigerian government should apologize to Ghanaian citizens since they are the ones that have continued with this beef for years, for decades. The other countries that were sent away, everybody had moved on. But Nigeria and Ghana have refused to move on. They keep nursing this beef inside them. Now there is anti-Nigerian going on in Ghana, brewing up. The other time, the shops owned by the Nigerians in Kumasi were locked. I understand the bad eggs, trying to expel the bad eggs from Ghana. I support it, cry. We say, oh, they don't have anything, they're not paying tax, they are committing crimes and stuff like that. I support those ones living. Now, the ones that have shops in the country doing legit businesses, paying tax, they are not the ones committing crimes. Why are they also being targeted? So you see, these two countries have a lot of work to do. The government should please step in and do something. Apologize to each other. We know you people were not the ones that took this decision, but it is affecting us now. So the two governments should do something about this before it gets out of hand, because if it repeats, then that means we are not even getting any better. If we continue this way and Ghana will say, okay, Nigerians should leave, and then Nigerians in Nigeria will now retaliate and say, yeah, all Ghanaians get out of our country. Unnecessary to linger. The same beef will continue. So the two governments should come together, apologize to each other. Let there be love and unity between Ghana and Nigeria. We love each other. That be why they always banter. That banter, it be bitterness of unforgiving thing, because if you offend your partner and then the next day you want her to forget whatever happened yesterday, when you have not addressed it and apologized for it, they will be brewing that resentment inside. That hurt will be inside, and before you know it, resentment will start piling up between the two of you. That is exactly what is going on between Nigeria and Ghana. And I urge the two governments to please tender official apologies to each country so that we can live in peace and harmony again. So what do you think about this suggestion? Do you think the government should apologize? Do you think this beef will stop if the government does the right thing? Let me know in the comment section. If this is your first time on my channel, sweethearts, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share my videos. Give these videos some thumbs up so that YouTube can suggest it to other viewers. Alright, I love you all so much, and I'll see you in the next video.